Kidlit Festival, our first annual Montana Kidlit Festival here in Billings. I'm Precious McKenzie from Rocky Mountain College, and I'd like to thank our sponsors of this event, Humanities Montana, the Billings Public Library, Rocky Mountain College, Writer's Voice, and this House of Books. Say hi to Julie back there, show her some love. She has got books from all of our authors and illustrators for sale this weekend, so please go out and support them. And we also have the beautiful Montana Spark art show on display today. Original artwork and original stories by Montana artists and writers, so check that out today too. So our first session this morning is with the wonderful Sue Lawrence. Welcome, Sue. Show her some love. Sue Lawrence is a graduate of Rocky Mountain College in writing. She's also a former nurse, and she is the author of Montana's Memory Day, illustrated by Erica Wilson, who's in the audience. So if you'd like them to sign copies of your book, they're both here. You can catch them today. Sue is just a dear friend of mine. I got to see the very, very start of this book as it started as just a very beginning seed of an idea. And she worked so hard over the years and turned it into just a magical book for young readers that really warms your heart. And I'm so proud and honored to say that this past year, Montana's Memory Day was a finalist in the Western Writers of America Spur Awards for children's books. So that's a tremendous honor, especially for a first book. So congratulations, Erica, and congratulations, Sue. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Sue.
Thank you, Precious. My writing mentor. This is my debut children's picture book, Montana's Memory Day, illustrated by Erica Wilson. And I'm going to read the book aloud to you. You're welcome to look at it. You can just listen. Nice thing about picture books, having the pictures to see, but then having it read aloud to you. I think it comes to life a little more. My glasses are fogging up. My name is Montana. Tomorrow is my memory day. I'm a thinker and a rememberer. I used to change houses a lot. Mixed up feelings followed me from place to place. But now I live with new mom. There's a differentness about this mom. She's like a steady stream that gurgles. Splosh, slosh, surge. She teaches me. There's always stuff to do around here. Today, we gathered firewood for the wood stove. Whack! Thud. I'm learning how to whittle. I practice using one of new mom's old knives. She says I'll make a good carver one day too. Cut, flick, peel. I wish I had my own knife to whittle with. She wakes me at dawn to walk in the woods. Our boots stomp the silence of the new fallen snow. Crunch, crunch, crunch. A wisp of white glides nearby, low to the ground. Whoa, what's that? It's a snowy owl, hunting for breakfast. Today looks different than yesterday did. The snow sparkles like spilled glitter. This branch you found will be good for carving. Good job, Montana. Thanks. Let's walk the creek home. An American dipper dives into the creek and hops out with a bug in her beak. Skip, dip, flutter. A magpie flits his tail in a distant tree. I think he's eyeing me. Are those wolf tracks? No, they're too small for a wolf. These are coyote tracks. But don't worry, there's room here for all of us. We stride to the farmhouse side by side. Stomp, stomp, stomp. Nature walks make me hungry. I'll make baked apples. Core, sprinkle, bake. New mom stirs up a coffee cake. A warm cinnamon sugar scent tickles my nose. We remember our adoption day together. I made her a surprise in art class. Oh, I love it! How quietly you carved your way into my heart, Montana. She gives me a box inside a box. It's a carving knife. My initials are etched into the handle like permanent ink. This branch we brought home needs to dry out. Then I can carve it into whatever I want. Carve, shape, create. It's still early, but already this is my best memory day. I've got 6 pages of back matter. This is Erica Wilson's, my illustrator's notes, and some photos showing part of her illustration process. She carved all of these illustrations out of big blocks of lino, like linoleum, and some of the spreads, like that, seeing that first photo there where Montana's sitting in the tree, the big old cottonwood trail tree in the upper left-hand corner. I know that took over 20 hours just to carve. That's just one spread. There were 13 double page spreads, not counting the cover and the end pages. And 20 hours of carving time with a teeny tiny knife doesn't take into account her tracing and printing, and she used her nephew and her sister-in-law as live models for Montana and New Mom. She used her family farm along the Yellowstone River as inspiration for the setting. All this takes time. I learned from Precious, anybody ever says, it's just a picture book, that you can, whip that off in an instant. She said, set them straight. It takes a long time to do a picture book. This book, it's 437 words, that's all. But it was 2.5 years in the making. I did not grow up in the foster care system, but I was married to 2 men who did. I wrote this book about foster care adoption, especially foster care adoption of an older child, not a baby, because I felt there was a need. When I was writing this manuscript, I couldn't find comp titles. Comp as in comparable books that are similar. All the adoption books I was finding, which there's not that many of those either, it's adoption of a baby. Not an older child, not a special needs child, not a sibling group. And that's where the 3 needs are. I wrote this story to give voice to an underrepresented demographic, foster kids and teens, and I intentionally wrote it in the first person point of view. I wanted you to hear Montana's thought, see his needs, and relate to his experiences as he learns to bond with yet another grown-up that has come into his life. That's why he calls her New Mom. The boy in the story is named Montana, like our state, because it means mountain, and strength. Like Montana, I too carved out a new life for myself now 5 years ago. I'll tell you more about that in another slideshow. This photo of me is as I'm graduating in May of 2019 from Rocky Mountain College. I was 60 then, and I was the oldest graduate to walk across the graduation stage. It felt good. The last 2 pages of the book, recommended reading for more about foster care and adoption, about our state, Montana, whittling and carving, and some facts, some statistics, and also concerns about foster care adoptions um, that I learned along the way. And, and I have another presentation, which, how do I get her homepage? Oh, maybe it's okay. That's it. And bear with me, please. I think here. Just a moment. Thank you for your patience. It's in the title. And in a moment, I'll be pulling up my presentation. We're thinkers and rememberers and storytellers too. Don't you just love technology? If if you do, I have some swampland here in Montana. I'll sell you. Thank you. See why she's my writing mentor? I'm not a tech person. Like in the book, on the first page, Montana says, I'm a thinker and a rememberer. I feel like each of us are also thinkers and rememberers, which makes us storytellers too. Doesn't matter your age. If you're old enough to read, then you're old enough to write. My goal today is to urge you to write your stories down and write them now. Don't wait till you're my age to do it, okay? Write them down now. Like Precious said, I've been a nurse for over 40 years, living in Alabama, Florida, and Georgia. And then August 16th, 2016, I showed up on the campus of Rocky Mountain College at 5:15 in the morning, made it there 3 hours before fall registration start time to do college second time around. This time I majored in English creative writing. Lived in the residence hall. My roommates were 19, 19, and 20. They did not like me. One came on board, and she was honest enough to let me know it was her mom giving her flack. Her mom was mad that I was there and had deprived her of having a roommate her age. But but she made up her own mind. And after about 2 weeks, she became good friends. We keep in contact now. I was twice the age of most of my professors, 3 times the age of my classmates. It took me 4 times as long to do all of my assignments for everyone's class, including Precious's, but it was worth it all. Please write your stories down. Fill your paper with the breathings of your heart. William Wordsworth. It won't be easy. Don't expect it to be. Whether you're making a career change or a personal change in your life, financial, where you're going to live, change is hard. Expect it. Grow from it. Bend with it. You won't break. Um, I've told some of you most of the reasons that I came to Rocky Mountain College, to Montana, sight unseen. One of the big reasons, though, I don't know if I've shared it with you or not. 12 years ago, my husband passed away. It was my second husband, and I know his name was Bill. I've told you about Bill. This was a good marriage. This was a soulmate. We'd been married 6 years when he was diagnosed with prostate cancer that had metastasized to the bone already. He lived 5 more years, and I say lived. We lived every moment, every day, right till the very end. And he kept his sense of humor going till the day he died. When he passed away, I was 51. But within that 18-month period, 11 people close to me died. Not just my husband, also my special needs brother, a close friend, and my 26-year-old step-granddaughter. We all have life-altering events. I mean, this is my story. Your story may be similar, it may be different. We all have things that happen to us, some by choice, our choice, some not. Charles Swindoll said, life is 10% what happens to me, 90% how I react to it. I kept that inspirational quote of his up on my refrigerator for many, many years, including during this time period. These photos are taken here. The previous ones are of the ponderosa tree, our state tree. Woohoo! Just these up at Zimmerman Park. These were taken in Argenta, Montana, which means silver, and it was a big silver mining camp. It's up near Bannock State Park. This is a forest road. As you can see, it's very, very rocky. I made it 1.5 miles on that, and I turned around and came back. I was afraid of getting a flat tire again. 5 months after Bill passed away, I was diagnosed with pseudotumor cerebri. Pseudotumor means false tumor. Cerebri means both sides of my brain, both cerebrum. So I had all the symptoms of a brain tumor, but it was not a brain tumor. It was the spinal fluid, your intracranial fluid that normally flows through your brain and your spinal cord, and it just rotates all day long. And then any excess you secrete through your kidneys, mine wasn't doing that, so it was just building up. So it caused an intense pressure in my brain because the intracranial fluid was not draining. So like with a brain tumor, I had the nausea and the vomiting. I I couldn't walk a straight line. I'd run into the wall. I was falling. I was losing my vision. Night vision. Everything was blurry. Um, Double vision, color vision. And that was the worst of it, of the vision loss, was to lose color. I mean, to look at something that's brightly colorful like my shirt, and it just looked like a dingy gray, that was a loss. The headaches were awful. They were like a giant lobster claw squeezing my head together, and they were constant. The only relief I got from the headache was when I would sleep. But then no matter what time I fell asleep, I woke up at 3:32 a.m. with the terrible headaches. I received treatment. The headaches went away. I got my vision back. I got my color vision back. Your journey, your road might be rocky, but it's worth it when you get to your destination. It just is. When I was 38 years old, I had heard so many people that I knew that got depressed when they turned 40, clinically depressed. And I didn't think that was going to happen to me because I've always been kind of an upbeat person, but I didn't want it to happen to me. So I made a list. It was 14 things on this list of things I wanted, and the title, things I want to do before I turn 40. Because I thought if I could get at least some of those things done before I turned 40, maybe I wouldn't, go down the same path that my friends had. I got 8 of them done. One of the other 6 was to publish 2 books. I've got one more to go. Because I had lost my color vision, and when I got it back, not only did I have a new lease on life, but I had a heightened sense of awareness. Anything that was colorful or symmetrical or just beautiful, the most mundane things, like the patterns on the insect, like the grasshoppers that had smiley faces for their face, the little Carolina grasshopper, the flowers, the way the leaves would wrinkle up, the little ferns, everything was new and amazing is not a good enough word. What's better than amazing? Magnificent. What? Outstanding? Outstanding. Thank you. Outstanding. I felt like a 4-year-old that goes on a nature walk and they pick up sticks and they think it's a sword, and they pick up a stone and they think it's an arrowhead. And that's the way I felt, and that's the way I still feel. This is why I love exploring Montana. I do believe that color and beauty surrounds us in this state. It is everywhere. You don't even have to look for it. It's there. These horses, I included these, by the way, for the horse lovers in the audience. Do you know where this photo was taken? Do you recognize this? Anybody? Say it. Close. This is in Belfry. This is from taken inside the Belfry Cemetery. The green grass part, that's where I was standing. The horses were on the other side of the fence. Beauty is everywhere. You can look for it, or you can just slow down and you'll observe it. Believe. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. I still had my dream. I wanted to be an author. Whoop. I'm sorry that cut off. What it says is, don't let anyone else write your story for you. You are the author of your life. This was also in Belfry, kind of a bedraggled cottonwood tree. You know, I'm a real fan. Erica knows I'm a huge fan of cottonwood trees. I think it's the wrinkle. I think I feel or something. But here, this homeowner had what could be, and most people would think is an eyesore, this tank. Painted it, made it look like a watermelon. It's all a matter of perspective. On the way to Montana to do college second time around, of course, I stopped for gas many times, and one was a Conoco station. This was on the pump as I was pumping up my gas. Go to the place where you aren't. I laughed out loud, and I said out loud, I am. This photo was taken south of Livingston, Montana. Sometimes you need to broaden your horizons, literally. You may not need a drastic change of place, change of life, change of career like I did. You might not need it, but you might. Know that it's okay. It's okay to change direction in your personal life, in your financial life, in your work life, at any age. It's okay. But you can't just dream it, you got to do it. And by the way, this is the same photo that I zoomed in on and used for our SCBWI Montana Instagram profile. SCBWI stands for Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators. You want to be a writer or a book illustrator of Kidlit, I highly recommend joining that. That's my own little personal plug. Sometimes you need to broaden your horizons. Sometimes you just need to focus in on what ignites your passion for living. That thing that gives you a renewed sense of wonder and discovery like an eager 4-year-old. Success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm. Winston Churchill. This saying helps me when I get all these rejection letters, when I submit articles. This photo is at Phipps Park down on Rimrock. Montana has been my saving grace. I love Montana. I love the scenery. I love the people of Montana. I love the hardy, wiry, tenacious work ethic of Montanans. And Montana adopted me. Just let you know, I got here as quick as I could, y'all. I really did. This is one of my mantras. Treat each day as your last one. I'm sorry. Let me say that again, please. Treat each day as your last. One day, you'll be right. This was on the side of an ice cream shop. Youth is a gift of nature, but age is a work of art. I can take advice from the night sky. I see the big picture. I keep looking up. I'm going to stay full of wonder. I'm going to continue to expand my horizons. I'm not so sure about turning off the light, but when I'm outdoors and want to see that wonderful Milky Way, you bet. You guys can take advice from the night sky too. Can you read what's on the mortarboard of the person in front of me in line as I was walking up to get my diploma, it says, "And so the adventure begins." It's kind of fitting that she was right in front of me, and that's what I stared at the whole time I was walking up. And she was one of my classmates, too. One of our Montana authors, Jean Peterson, this was on her Instagram. "You're never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream." C.S. Lewis. My first semester at Rocky Mountain College, these were two of the notebooks that I'd bought for it, only because of the sayings. "Shine bright, dream big, know you can do anything, girl. Your direction is more important than your speed." Thank goodness. Everything takes me a lot longer than other people, but I don't have to rush and get things done now. And it works. Because my direction's more important than my speed. This is Erica and myself in her Windy Mill press shop. My sister took this photo of us. I just love the way we're both grinning from ear to ear. We're just, it's like it's her happy place, but I felt happy there too. It's not the life in your years. Why am I reading things wrong? Excuse me. It's not the years in your life, it's the life in your years. I do feel that. It's like I'm living my best life now. Montana's Memory Day was honored to receive a starred review from Kirkus Reviews. And it was also chosen as one of Kirkus Reviews' best of 2021 indie books. That was a real honor, and it was a real surprise. Of the 100 books, only 15 of them were picture books. The other 85 were short story collections or novels or middle grade, young adult, and adults. Most of the indie books were adult books. This was an honor and a privilege, and I guess it was validation, and it felt good. It made Erica and I both feel like hard work paid off. Takes a long time, a lot of effort, a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy, but worth it, especially if kids are going to be able to read your book. You can, one of the times it snowed this past winter, I took one of my books that was a damaged one and put it in the snow. It seemed fitting. It gets cold and it snows here. Sure doesn't dampen my spirit, though. It's just beautiful. And it was nice to be able to make it part of the setting of a kid's book. I like to sing by Irma Bombeck. "When I stand before God at the end of my life, I would hope that I would have not a single bit of talent left and could say, I used everything you gave me. Everything. I urge you, no matter what age you are, write your stories now." This is my 11-year-old great nephew. They had discovered this was a typewriter that his grandmother had received when she was a teenager. He is a reluctant reader. He is not a writer, but he was trying and learning and eager to be doing so. He's a thinker and he's a rememberer, so he's a storyteller too. Kids lose themselves in books. They find themselves there too. Whatever your stories are, please don't wait till you're my age to write them down. Please do it now. John Hay in the 1600s had a saying that I'll paraphrase. That's a long time ago, 1600. It goes, a sorrow shared is but half a sorrow, but a joy shared is twice the joy. Share your joy. You're a thinker and a rememberer, and you're a storyteller too. And in the back on the table, I've got some little miniature writing journals. You can use them for sketching, for writing, just little tidbits of thoughts and notes. They're for adults, they're for kids. If you're old enough to read, you're old enough to write. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sue. Does anybody have any questions for Sue about her books, her process? Yes.
So with regard to the, let me use this. So Sue, awesome. Wow, she's like a TED Talk,
I know,
right?
Totally.
Right? We're the whole time like this is a TED Talk. Okay, so with regard to the process with, did you plan for him to be a carver because you knew she was going to illustrate, or did you change him to be a carver, whittler, woodworker because of that? Did that serendipitously happen, or was that a planned promise to us?
And I see that you're seeing the
Oh yeah, she does need that. I have a big voice.
it's like you're catching on to the symbolism there, which makes me very, very happy. Very happy.
My lit teachers would be
Because, yes, she carved the illustrations, and there's wonderful cottonwood trees that have the wrinkles carved into them. And the carving of a, whittling and carving in a wood. And Montana, carving a new way of life for himself, to try to trust another person again. So all of that was intentional. I knew that I wanted the book to have a nature angle, and I had fallen in love with cottonwood trees, and I knew I wanted Erica to be my illustrator. I knew she lived on a farm. I didn't realize she had cottonwood trees. But when I sent her my manuscript and talked to her about the idea, she goes, I know exactly what to do. She knew that she wanted to carve the illustrations. She knew she wanted to use her family farm as the setting. It all just tied in, and it took off from there. Any other questions? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry. But thank you, Jeannie. Door prizes.
Did you all have raffle tickets? Okay, so get your numbers out. We'll read the last 3 numbers on your ticket, and you have a chance to win. And Miss